My parents refused to pay for my college while fully supporting my sister. Thankfully, my aunt stepped in and helped me succeed. Now, my parents want my help, but I've said no. Hello, Reddit. Growing up, my parents always played favorites. So when it came time to choose how I'd respond, I thought, forget it. I'll build my own life and move forward. But of course, they weren't done. Let me start from the beginning. I'm a 27-year-old man with a 29-year-old sister. In our family, she was the golden child, while I faded into the background. Some people think favoritism just means one kid gets more attention or praise. That wasn't the case here. It was obvious, and anyone paying attention could see it. My parents, though, worked hard to hide it from the outside world. Relatives, grandparents, even neighbors. My mother especially knew how to fake it with a smile. Whenever guests came, she'd suddenly act interested in me. "How's school?" or "Show grandma your drawings." But as soon as the door closed, I was invisible again. Birthdays were the clearest example. My sister always had parties with balloons, banners, fancy cakes, piles of gifts, and all her classmates invited. My birthdays? A store-bought cake, maybe a card, and a couple of relatives. I once asked my sister why my birthdays weren't like hers. She smirked and said, "'Cause no one cares about your boring little birthday. Mine's fun. Yours would be embarrassing." School and competitions were even worse. Teachers encouraged me to enter contests, and I had real potential. At 14, I was invited to regionals, and my teacher thought I'd win. But my parents told me no, it wouldn't be fair to my sister if I achieved something she couldn't. She laughed and said, "Nobody wants to see you. Don't drag our family down if you embarrass yourself." Meanwhile, she got every opportunity: dance, art, music classes. When I asked for lessons in something I liked, my dad just chuckled and said, "We don't waste money on things you'll never be good at." I was only 12. At times, I thought I was overreacting, but my aunt noticed. For once, I felt proud. I showed my parents, expecting at least some recognition. Instead, my mom's face went blank, and my dad sighed. He said, "That's nice, but we're not paying for it." At first, I thought he was joking, but he explained, "Your sister is already in college. We're not stretching ourselves just because you want something fancier." Fancier? I told them this wasn't luxury. It was my future. My mom cut in, saying, "It wouldn't be fair to your sister if you went to a higher-ranked school." That was the breaking point. I told them how they had always shut me down: competitions, hobbies, and now college, just to avoid overshadowing her. My dad snapped, accusing me of... I turned to my aunt. When I told her everything, she was shocked but firm. "Pack your things. You're coming with me. I'll cover your tuition and housing. You deserve a chance." And she didn't stop there. The next day, she confronted my parents directly. She said, "How dare you risk your child's future because of this twisted idea of..." That night, as I packed, my mom told me I'd regret it. My dad ignored me completely. My sister smirked like she'd already won. Then my aunt arrived, firm and direct. "Is he ready?" My mom tried to block it, but my aunt stood her ground. "You've been holding him back for years. That ends now." And with that, I left. For the first time, I felt free. My parents hated how it looked to others, but they never told the truth. They just claimed I moved in with my aunt because it was closer to school. Meanwhile, living with her was a total shift. She paid for tuition, gave me a supportive home, and treated me like I mattered. She never babied me, but always respected me. I promised I'd pay her back someday. She just said, "Don't worry. Focus on your future." Still, I worked part-time jobs at the library, tutoring, retail, just to contribute. It was exhausting, But I wasn't going to waste the opportunity she'd given me. And I made myself a promise. If my parents ever ask me for help, I'd remember how they once told me, "We won't pay for your future because it wouldn't be fair to your sister." Living with my aunt was like entering a new world. She supported me at every step, even went with me to orientation. Meanwhile, my parents pretended everything was fine, lying to relatives and bragging about my sister's business ventures. But I didn't care anymore. I had my aunt and my grandparents, and that was enough. Eventually, I paid my aunt back for every cent she spent on me. She didn't want it, but I insisted. It mattered to me. By then, my sister's ventures kept failing, yet my parents kept bailing her out, sinking deeper into debt. She dismissed regular jobs as beneath her, always blaming others when things collapsed. By the time I graduated, I had more work experience than her. I landed a stable job, saved, and eventually bought my own modest house. My aunt cried quietly at the signing, telling me, "You did this yourself." Meanwhile, my parents kept pretending we were all thriving. They boasted about my sister while barely mentioning me. But it didn't matter. I had built my life, repaid my aunt, and stood on. I decided to create my own story rather than remain in the shadows. By then, I had been in my role for a few years. Life was stable. I was paying bills, owned my home, and things felt good. For the first time, I wasn't worrying about my parents' approval or second-guessing every decision. I was simply living. Then, 2 months ago, everything shifted when I received a promotion. This wasn't a token raise. It was a real step up, with a significant salary increase. The kind of news that makes you stare at the HR email, wondering if it was a mistake. I had worked hard for it. Late nights, extra responsibilities, going beyond expectations, and it finally paid off. The first people I wanted to share the news with were my aunt and grandparents. They had always been my biggest supporters, the ones who believed in me when my parents didn't. I called them, and their reactions meant everything. My aunt cried with happiness. My grandmother said she always knew I'd succeed. My grandfather told me I deserved it and that he was proud. That call felt more meaningful than the promotion itself. To celebrate, I took them out to dinner, not just anywhere, but somewhere nice. The evening was amazing. We laughed, shared stories, and reflected on everything it took to reach. At the end of the night, my aunt snapped a few photos. Later, she posted them on Instagram with a heartfelt caption about how proud she was and how she'd watched me work hard and finally enjoy the results. I thought nothing of it. It was just a kind post. But my sister follows her account, and that's where the trouble began. She saw the photos and immediately messaged me. "Wow, must be nice flaunting money while your real family can't even keep the lights on." It was the first time she had contacted me in years. Not a hello, not a congratulations, just entitlement. Instead of being happy for me, her reaction was to demand I share my success. I told her, "I worked for this. Nobody handed it to me." She shot back, "Spare me. You wouldn't even have a degree if Aunt hadn't rescued you. You're not special. You just got lucky." Then my parents joined in. They sent a long message about how they had sacrificed for me growing up, and that now it was my duty to support them. Their words were, "We took care of you. Now it's your turn to take care of us." At first, I laughed, but the more I thought about it, the more frustrated I became. Not because they asked, but because they demanded it, as if I owed them. My sister didn't stop. She accused me of being selfish and abandoning my family. She claimed I owed her support because her failed businesses were supposedly for the family, and now that I had a steady income, I should fund her next venture. She even said, "If you cared about family, you'd invest in me. When I succeed, we'll all benefit." She scoffed, claiming if she had half my chances, she'd be running her own empire already. I pointed out that she had taken every opportunity but wasted them. She called herself an entrepreneur. I told her entrepreneurs build things. She only drained wallets and called it vision. She tried to act confident and warned me that I'd regret cutting them off, that her next idea would make me wish I had supported her. I told her plainly, no. The only thing I regret is giving you so much time. Don't expect me to fund your fantasies. Then I walked away while she yelled after me. Later, I sent screenshots of our messages to my aunt and grandparents. My aunt was furious, angrier than I'd ever heard her. She called my parents directly and confronted them. I wasn't on the call, but later I learned she laid everything out. How they denied me tuition, favored my sister, and let me leave home without help. She told them they had no right to ask me for anything and should be ashamed for even trying. Soon after, the rest of the family learned the truth. My father's parents, who had apparently been giving my parents money for years, were shocked. They thought their financial support had been divided between me and my sister. When they found out it all went to fund her failed businesses, they cut my parents off. They told my sister that if she wanted money, she needed to work and pay off her debts like everyone else. It stunned me to realize how much my parents had hidden to maintain the golden child image. They had convinced everyone that they supported us equally, when in reality, everything went to her while I was left out. Once the truth came out, their perfect family facade collapsed. Relatives who used to admire my sister started questioning her. People who thought of my mother as a devoted parent realized she had been playing favorites all along. My sister, of course, blamed me. She accused me of airing family secrets and making everyone angry. To her, I was the villain for not staying silent. She even called me screaming, "You've ruined everything! You owe us!" I let her rant for a minute, then hung up and blocked her. It was the most peace I'd felt in years. My parents changed tactics after that, but never apologized. My phone filled with angry voicemails, guilt trips, and late-night calls. One day they insisted, "We're your parents, you owe us." The next, they warned, "Don't come crawling back when you fail." I decided to do something for myself. I bought a motorcycle, something I'd wanted since childhood, but was always told was irresponsible. Riding it with the wind in my face, I finally felt free, not caring about their judgment. Meanwhile, my sister was still living at home, contributing nothing while my parents drowned in debt. Yet she insisted I was the selfish one for refusing. Eventually, the begging started. My mom sent a message, "Please don't cut us off. We know we weren't perfect, but we're still your parents." My dad wrote about sticking together as a family. They even tried to guilt me by saying, "Think of your sister, she needs you," as if my entire childhood hadn't already been sacrificed for her. I didn't reply. I blocked them on everything. I even asked my grandparents not to update me about them anymore. I was finished. Blocking them wasn't about revenge. It was relief. It was finally closing a door that should have been shut years ago. The rest of the family sided with me. My aunt never let my parents spin excuses. My father's parents cut off support completely. My sister, who once acted like a queen at family gatherings, was ignored. No one asked about her projects anymore. No one cared about her big ideas. They all knew the truth. My aunt later told me my mom cried on the phone, wondering where she went wrong. Maybe she truly believed she was being fair, but in my view, she always knew. Every time she said, "It wouldn't be fair to your sister," she was making a choice, and those choices had consequences. My dad, as always, stayed silent, but silence is still a choice. He let it happen. Watching their image crumble was oddly satisfying. Not because I wanted them to suffer, but because it confirmed what I already knew. They never cared about me. They only cared about control, appearances, and keeping my sister on a pedestal. Once that collapsed, they had nothing left. That's when I realized something important. I didn't need to scream at them or seek dramatic revenge. All I needed to do was live my life, succeed, and refuse to support them. That was enough. The irony is almost laughable. They spent years holding me back so she could stay on top. Now she's jobless, in debt, and criticized by the same family who once praised her. The truth is out, and they can't hide behind fake smiles anymore. And honestly, that feels better than any revenge I could have imagined. I still hear occasional updates. Apparently, debt collectors are calling, payments are overdue, and they're struggling with nothing to show but her failed ventures. She refuses to get a job, still clinging to the idea of being too good to work for someone else. But this time, no one is funding her. Even my grandparents told her if she wants money, she has to earn it. For years, my parents sacrificed me to protect her. They made my birthdays small, blocked me from competitions, denied me education, and told me it was all to avoid upsetting her. What surprised me most was how much my aunt and grandparents stood by me. They didn't just support me, they defended me. My aunt called out my parents, my father's parents cut them off, and my mother's parents told me to focus on myself. For the first time, I felt fully seen. My aunt reminded me often, "You don't owe them anything." And she was right. She was the one who believed in me, who gave me the chance for a better future. As for my sister, she still tries to throw insults through others, claiming I'm cold or heartless. Meanwhile, the loans my parents took in her name left her unable to even get basic credit. While I was signing mortgage papers, she was still sleeping in her childhood bedroom without a job, money, or a plan. After everything, I chose to focus only on myself. Cutting off family isn't easy, even when they treat you poorly. At first, it left a strange gap. But I filled that space with people who genuinely cared. In the end, I didn't need revenge. Karma handled that part.